Loureen Ayyoub, and welcome back to The Global Human. Today I have the amazing honor to speak with the king of interviews himself, Mr. Larry King. Thank you so much for taking time to be here today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be included as a global human.
You indeed are one, and that's the amazing part of this conversation today, because we get to talk about the upcoming Immigrant Heritage Month and a little bit about what you experienced growing up. I know that you had sort of a diverse upbringing. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, I'm a first-generation American. My father came from Austria. What was then, well, it's not really Austria, it was that Hungarian Empire.
Right.
So he really was, I think, from Budapest, but then it was included as Austria. My mother came from Russia. My mother came when she was 1 year old. My father came when he was 20. And I was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1933. I had a brother who was born before me 4 years, but he died of a burst appendix, which almost doesn't exist, that thing, anymore. And I have a younger brother who's 3 years younger than me. My father died when I was 9. But, so I was raised in a very Jewish household. My mother made kosher food. You know, they spoke Yiddish and English.
Okay.
I was raised in a wonderful area in Brooklyn. We were raised without prejudice.
Yeah.
We never used the N-word. We never looked at people as below us or above us. I was never very religious.
Right. Did you go to temple at all? Or
I went to temple. I was bar mitzvahed. went through all the things.
The cultural experience.
Yeah, and I'm still very culturally Jewish, but when I went to Israel, I felt home.
Right.
While I had no religious feeling. A lot of Jewish terms say, lead a good life. If there's something there, lead a good life.
Right.
What's wrong with leading a good life?
Yeah.
And
So that's your motto.
Let whatever be, be. And that's the way I was raised.
Okay, very nice. And I know your last name, though everybody knows you as Mr. King, your last name originally was not King. Can you tell us about that?
It was Zeiger, Z-E-I-G-E-R. My brother is still Martin Zeiger. His
Okay.
family is all Zeigers. I've heard from some people recently who have traced my heritage in a parody. My father had a brother who went to Israel, died in Haifa.
Wow.
That I have relatives now in Brazil. They're tracing my whole thing. It's really amazing to know this, but I was always Larry Zeiger. My only reason I changed it was my first day on the radio.
Yeah.
The general manager thought that Zeiger was not a name that would connect well. People wouldn't know how to spell it, and right now it would probably, if I was starting today, they would have kept Larry Zeiger. Any name goes today.
Yeah.
And
Did that offend you at all when they asked for you to change it, or were you comfortable?
no, my first day on the air was about to go on in 10 minutes. I was just
So you had
happy
no
to be
choice.
on. My dream was coming true.
Right.
So they could have said, you're Larry Gorilla. I would have been Larry Gorilla. I was just happy to go on. And then my family got very proud of it. My brother was very proud. My mother used to send me birthday cards, Dear Larry King. But she was very proud. You know, a name is just a name. It's what you are.
Right, right. But I truly believe you carried that name, Mr. King, in such a positive way. Especially as a journalist, we were able to celebrate 60 years in broadcast journalism for you recently. We had a great time with you that night.
Thank you.
As far as just the highlights of your success, I know you've had so many special moments in journalism, but what would you attribute to your success?
Because I think the Secret Service
and plunged me headfirst into the limo.
Need all these weapons. What is the threat to Venezuela? What changed from colonel to brother leader? Today's election, a non-violent revolution. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
To stand at the gate there.
What were you thinking as you walked?
No, I was thinking, of course, of freedom.
I think I never had pretension to be more than I was.
Right.
I didn't go to college. I never read the great books. I was, the New Yorker did a story on me once, and they said I was everyman. They called it street talk.
Right.
And I was very proud of that. I thought that I was the kind of guy who asked questions that came from here and here that the average guy would ask. You know, as I had my questions were short. I'm very inquisitive, extremely curious, desirous of knowledge. And I would ask the whys about, why did you do this? And I think people associate, I'm guessing this, that people associated me with them. You know, I must have been comfortable in their living room. That this is just, he's a guy, you know, he's a regular guy.
Very casual conversation.
He ain't Robert Redford. He has a nice voice. He could be funny, but he really wants to learn. And and a lot of times I tried walking in the guest's shoes. I was, what's it like? What is it like to be, a Muslim in America? I'm not a Muslim. So if I'm interviewing Muslims, what's it like?
Right.
How do you feel about how your neighbors look at you? What is it like?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's like. You know what it's like. What's it like to be black? What's life like? So whether they're evil or good, whether we produce evil or good, that don't matter.
Right.
Nobody thinks they're evil. So Osama bin Laden didn't get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, I am a terrible person. They don't think that. So he doesn't think he's terrible. Right? I may think he's terrible,
Right.
but he doesn't think he's terrible. So if I come at him in a way like I would have asked him, you came from one of the richest families in Saudi Arabia. Why'd you leave? Now, that's something that the average guy in the street would say.
Why?
Why would you leave?
Very basic yet so
Yeah.
informative.
To Hitler, why do you hate Jews? Why you weren't born hating. Obviously you weren't born hating. Baby doesn't hate.
Right.
Why? What got you to hate?
Yeah.
You see, in other words, they don't walk around thinking about that. So if you get them to think about things they don't think about, you can get it. So I think if there was a reason for success, it would be being everything, and as Sinatra said once, there's a lot to be said for longevity. If you can do something for 60 years, you're doing something right.
Right.
So, and it's very hard to self-examine yourself, but if I had to, I would say I had no pretensions, I had no agenda, I didn't go on the air to embarrass someone or to praise someone.
Right.
I went on the air to learn, and I could do it in entertaining fashion.
Absolutely. And completely agree with that.
And I think a lot of it had to do with immigrants' feelings, you know, that feeling of,
Seeing different layers of identity growing up.
yeah.
As far as Frank Sinatra, you mentioned, I remember he was one of your favorite singers, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
What would be one of your favorite songs of his?
Oh, his record of Someday when I'm awfully lone, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Now, the arrangement on that song by Nelson Riddle, the orchestration, his pacing, the drama, the joy of what he was feeling,
Right.
his ability to phrase in so many, all comes out in that song. If you listen to his record of The Way You Look Tonight, you could listen to it all day. It is a perfect recording.
Yeah, it's a classic, definitely. That was a beautiful rendition. Thank you. So, after 60 years, what would you say for those who are pursuing success in this industry? What's some wisdom that you could leave with us? Or better yet, out of this industry, anyone transitioning.
No, well, the best advice you could give is be yourself. Because you can't make people like you. Whether you're in television or a salesman, or you can't grab someone by the throat and say, watch me and like me. So since you can't force someone to like you or love you or appreciate you, be yourself. If you're yourself, they're going to take you just for you. So you know that they're not liking you because you're pretending to be something you're not. So that's a very good piece of advice. Arthur Godfrey, the great broadcaster Jackie Gleason, who was a mentor of mine, told me that the secret of success is there's no secret. Be yourself.
Just be yourself. And where did you get the confidence to be yourself? Let's close out with that.
That's a very good question. The confidence to be myself. You know, it probably happened my first day on the air. Because I've always had it on the air. I don't have it off the air. I'm not the greatest in social situations. I use my humor to get away with a lot of things. You know. But on the air, because my first day on the air, I always wanted to be in radio. Always. It was my number one wish as a child. I didn't want to be a policeman or a doctor. I wanted to be in radio. And they took away my name. He said, your name is Larry King. And I was playing records, and I sat down in the studio, small station in Miami Beach. And the record started to play, Swinging Down the Lane, Les Elgart. I put the music on. I turned the microphone on, put the music down, and nothing came out. Then I raised the music up, raised it down, nothing came out. I looked at the clock, and it was like 2.5 minutes of nothing coming out. And the general manager kicked open the door to the control room, and he said, this is a communications business, damn it, communicate. And what I did something that morning that I've done the rest of my life. I put on the mic and I said, good morning, my name is Larry King. That's the first time I've said that. I've just been given that name. All my life I wanted to be on the radio. And I've been sitting here and I'm nervous, and I've just been afraid. And the general manager kicked open the door, I'm saying this, and said to me, this is a communications business, damn it, communicate. And I realized something. Never was I nervous again, ever. Never, I couldn't get in trouble because I told them the truth. So if you were listening that day and I goofed, I'm reading a commercial and I goof, or I hit the wrong record. Hey, it's his first day. So I think that confidence came from knowing that I could do that. Tell them it's my first day, tell them I just got a new name, tell them I'm scared, and be back again tomorrow.
The power of transparency. It's like it frees you.
But presidents should learn that.
There's freedom in that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Loureen, and you're a beautiful young lady, and good luck. If this is your career, stay with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Loureen. I'm a global human.
Mr. Larry King.